Hello and welcome to another episode of the Built Different podcast. I'm your host, Pete Asadourian. It's certainly been a little while here. My co-host, as usual, Randell Bennett, is right by my side as usual. Rand, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Excited to get back at this.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a little while since we've actually done one, and today we have a great show coming for you for our audience. We have Teddy Williams from UConn, one of your former players. We'll give a little more introduction on him in a couple of minutes. But how you been doing? You know, you just opened up a new chapter in your life this fall. Poly Prep.
Yeah, man. Took my talents down to Brooklyn. Went down there, joined Coach Jones, one of my former teammates, and joined on his staff. And we had a great year, lost one game, and ended up winning the championship for that league. So, awesome year, great players, great families got to meet. Just a great experience to add to, this football journey that I've been on.
Yeah, you're certainly on a great journey, man. You're doing great. What's the difference, man? Did you see a difference in as far as like the high school and the prep?
I mean, aside from just I'd say the travel, just being on a team where you could be going an hour and a half.
Right.
You're still in the city, but you're playing the game. Just those different things. But I mean, football's football. You know.
How's it? One thing I was going to ask you, we haven't really talked about. How's that mindset? You know what I'm saying? Like the mindset of those athletes compared to the athletes that that are in the public school system. Or do those guys are they looking to advance? Obviously to the next levels.
I would say probably the biggest thing, and I definitely saw this with my guys in Cromwell, but just the types of schools that guys are interested in playing at. Kids at Poly Prep are very fortunate, and fortunate to be in situations where a lot of guys our quarterback is actually going to Columbia to play basketball.
Oh wow!
So. We had a few guys going to a lot of really high academic schools and programs, but every now and then you'll get a guy that's, swinging Power 4 and, going to do things like that. But guys that work very hard, same as my guys in Cromwell, but, just because of their geography and location, they ended up at different schools, it seems like. But, yeah, awesome group to be with. Yeah, just a great time.
Nice, man. I'm happy for you opening up that chapter for you.
Appreciate it.
Definitely. So today we have your guy that you used to coach.
Yeah, Teddy Ballgame, as he's known around these parts. Yeah. But Teddy Williams.
Maybe you do the intro on him.
I mean, first, before we get there, let's talk about your season. You just. Dusted off the the coaching shoes, and you had a nice little run to the semifinals this year.
Yeah.
With a very young team, so definitely in line to probably make another run next year. Talk about your mindset of just kind of leading the group through the grind again and making another deep run.
Yeah, last year we went to the quarters and. It's definitely heartbreaking. I know I talked to you about it. The withdrawal almost of the not coaching. You're just like you were enthralled in this. Watching film every night. Getting your scouting your own team. How do we get better? So I mean, always trying to build that championship mindset with the athletes. Any athlete that we work with, right? So this group of girls was a special group. They're young. They, they listened, they wanted it, and, obviously last year we went to the quarters. This year, we went to the Final Four. So they're getting a taste of it. And I think that's important when you're building that mindset and you're building a culture in your program is that you got to be able to keep tasting, taste that victory, taste going to the semifinals and, going deep. Went to the quarterfinals again in our conference tournament. And like you said, we're young. We graduated 3 seniors. They were great, and you always want to win for the seniors too. Obviously, sending them off like we got that deep, and I've been to the semifinals once before, and last time I was there, we won it in 2002 with the boys at Rocky Hill, and I put pressure on myself too a little bit, wanting that, that boys and girls title from the same school. And, my
Legendary.
my mentor, John Reiser, over at Manchester, he just won one. I'm real happy for him with the Manchester boys. And he's one of 2 coaches in the state now to have a boys and a girls championship. He won 2 with the girls at Manchester, and then he was now one with the, I think it was the first championship in 85 years.
1938, maybe, something like that.
So I'm happy for him. But, for me, selfishly, what I mean, you got to have a little selfishness when you're coaching. But, selfishly, I thought that would have been like real cool, like mentor, student, if you will.
Yes.
Win it the same year. But, I'm real happy for him. But, I'm pleased with our season, overall. But you have that. I think we bring our mindset, and we can certainly talk to Teddy about it when we get him on, but like building that mindset to be successful and be number one. And right. I think like you and I both share that, and we preach that to our athletes. But for me, the letdown of not winning the championship, getting there and just being literally about a minute and 30 seconds away of going to the championship game at Mohegan and enjoying that, embracing that. But, it is what it is. And, obviously, God carves a path for us. And, I believe, and the path wasn't there.
It's going to make the story greater.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to make the story greater.
But we got to keep fighting. My fall was good. I'll give my son a plug. He was, I don't think we've been on since then, state champ in golf as a sophomore. So I've been really tied up, family and everything else. But, the season's good, and, we're back at it, and I'm looking forward to getting the show going again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's for sure.
But let's get your guy on, your former student that you used to work with over at Cromwell High School.
Yeah. So just a quick rundown and introduction for Teddy Williams. This guy is he changed the fabric of our team with his mindset. His senior year was the year after COVID, and he led us, along with some other guys, Owen Brunk and Cole Brisson and Ryan Rozick being our other captains. But, he really kind of put the team on his back in moments, and, guys made amazing plays, and it ultimately led us to a state championship. And, from there, he's just like his work ethic, at Salisbury, being one of the hardest working guys there, and, that carrying over to, his time at the University of Connecticut. I can recall having a conversation with Coach Mora and him, kind of raving about Teddy's work ethic. And, for Coach Mora to have been, with the Falcons and have players like Mike Vick and, D'Angelo Hall and all these great players, and then be at UCLA and have guys like Miles Jack who would go on to be pros, for him to rave about, one of my guys' work ethic, you know what I mean? That's one of the ultimate compliments.
I'm going to interrupt you, too. Just save your thought. But having a guy like Teddy, an athlete like him, certainly helps you with your program. It makes your job a little bit easier. Like, I know I've had great athlete, Pat Egan, for instance, the year we won it, but that just makes, as a coach, you have a leader like that just makes it 100 times easier.
I would find myself at times during the next season after he left, asking him questions about how to motivate the group. I think one of the quotes I saw in the Patriots documentary was, we worked for Bill, but we played for Tom. Right. And when I heard that, I saw that. I saw how they changed when he came back around.
Right.
And they kind of wanted to put their best foot forward in front of him. So things like that, man, I mean, those things speak volumes. The actions that I could see from when he's around and when he walks in the room, and how the players react to him. Being a head coach, things can get stale for the team hearing the coach year after year, but those players,
it's funny
always stick in their mind.
I always say, when we were making our run, I'll interrupt you again, but like when we were making our run, it'd be like I'm giving the same message every single day. Like I had a Bill Cardarelli actually told me, refocus your team every single day.
Right.
Refocus them every day, even if you sound repetitive. And I would always say, like, I know I sound like a broken record. And I'd make fun of myself that you guys are tuning me out like Charlie Brown now. Wah, 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 wah.
Right.
So it's like, I get it. So, you bring people in. I had you come in. And,
Yes.
Having people come into the program and being able to offer your same message, but in a different voice, having them hear that different voice. I think that's so important, Bob.
Yes. So from Cromwell, Portland to the Salisbury School to the University of Connecticut, and yes, continuing to grind, continuing to fight and claw and scratch his way for an opportunity. But, I wouldn't expect anything less from him. I wouldn't expect him to take anything that was just given.
Right.
And, earning it the hard way, the right way over the easy way, is one of the reasons why, I feel so comfortable staying connected and offering words of advice and things like that when we're together. So without further ado, Theodore, Teddy Williams, Teddy Ballgame.
I just want to say, first of all, just appreciate both of you guys for having me on today. I've been watching since you guys brought Randell on and all that, so it's just really cool to be here.
Excellent, man. We're happy to have you.
Nice.
Certainly happy, and we're gonna we want some of your insight as an athlete and the grind that you went through, because we always talk about the grind, and one thing that I think most importantly, if you want to you have to sacrifice, right? And someone told me once, and was talking about my son, as an athlete, you're almost as a stock, right? So if you reach the pinnacle right away, the failure is going to be that much worse for you. But as a stock, it goes up, goes down, stays level, goes up, goes down. So I think basically what I'm trying to say is there's learning curves for you. And a lot of athletes, they'll feel that negative force, if you will, and then they'll stop. And, I always tell athletes, you reach your level, there's 8 more levels to go. So, I mean, for you to be playing at UConn and what you've done, I admire that. I think, you're a rare breed, and, that it's the grind and your mindset. So that's, one thing that, talk about your mindset as far as as a, athlete playing for Randell, going to Salisbury. When did you know that you wanted to play college football and go to the next level?
So I'd say probably when COVID happened my sophomore year, that March, I just started working out just to kind of get in shape. And then I would say probably once we started working out with Jarvis a bunch in that summer, and I realized I was kind of I was able to do the workouts as him, with him, and obviously at that time not on that same level.
Wouldn't experience working with him, first of all.
But just being able to do those workouts. I remember a specific time I went in, I think it was our third time, and we're doing box jumps, and he's doing 44 inches, and then I was doing less, and then all of a sudden I was I'm just gonna try and do it, and I jump up first try. I've never done them before. Right. I'm still this chubby kid who's 16, and I jump up on it, and I'm maybe I can figure this out. And then as that summer went, our season got canceled, obviously, but we just kept working out and everything. And then probably January of my junior year was when I really started to think I can take this to the next level and really do this in college.
Right.
So that just always kept me going. And then just having everyone around, when my brother Jack would work out with us, my best friend Owen, all the guys and all that, that they just kept me going.
Right. It's always I think it's great, that you just mentioned that box jump situation, that story where that was a pinnacle for you almost, right? That's a benchmark where, hey man, I never did this, but I could do it, versus saying oh, I can't do that, I don't want to even try it. Yeah. But that was confidence. That's great that you remember that, and that's such a pinnacle for you.
Right. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I remember. I just remember that, that one moment,
good.
When we first started.
Yeah, I remember that going into your senior year, I think we used to do this dumbbell bench press called elevated bench, where we started at a high incline, 5 reps, and knock it all the way down to flat. and I look over, and Teddy and Owen are doing it with like the 80s and 90s, and I'm like, man, my high school team's pretty strong right now.
Right.
I'm probably using 80 and 90-pound dumbbells.
You ain't using that, man.
In my days, in the good old days.
Yeah, right.
But for those guys to be juniors going into their senior year and doing that, I mean, I had been at Cromwell for about 8 years at that time. I don't think we had anyone that was doing that before. Maybe a big D lineman, but not my skill
That just
guys.
offers confidence too, being able to go in there and you're lifting, you're doing things that Jarvis was doing, and it's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. Mindset, everything.
Yeah. We kept a couple college players around throughout that time, so they got to see, guys at, Southern Connecticut, guys that were going to Sacred Heart, they played in a 7-on-7 tournament versus guys that were current players at University of New Hampshire, and they won.
Right.
It was them and some Endicott guys versus New Hampshire guys, and they went out and won, and it was like they're juniors in high school, but they're competing with Division I athletes right now. So,
It's gotta say
I
something.
mean, yeah, it was. Yeah, I had a lot of confidence in them. But can talk about like your routine and how like what your typical routine would be like in high school as far as just like either preparing for a game or preparing for practice or your game, and how that's kind of changed and developed to where you are now.
Yeah, so just like to start with like the whole routine thing, I think the biggest thing is like getting a routine, because that's what like keeps you disciplined and like able to like keep going, because like some days you'll get up and you're like sore, you're tired, and you don't want to like do it, but it's like that discipline over the motivation, because your motivation will always wear out before your discipline.
Yes.
I feel like. So like just having that routine and having that discipline like will really like just keep you going. But I'd say high school routine, I mean, I didn't really have much of a routine in high school. It was kind of just like, I mean, I would watch film and like practice and just like do all that, but I didn't have like what I have now, where it's like I'll go in, I'll stretch, I'll do like ankle mobility, stuff like that, that just like little stuff that you need, like just to like keep those like nagging injuries away and all that. I'd say like that was the biggest thing that helped me out, was just like
Preventative maintenance.
Yeah.
The prehab.
just like actually like looking stuff up, like what do guys do that like helps them get to the next level and all that, and just like seeing those videos and all that, just and then like trying to like copy that basically. But
So how does your, to like piggyback off what Rand was saying, like how does your routine differ? Like is it more structured now, would you say, in
yeah,
college?
definitely.
Right.
It's more like every day, like before practice, I go in and I'll stretch, like I have to do that, and then after I like get on the treadmill and I'll like walk backwards on it, like just to like I don't really know the science behind it, but it's just like I feel like it helps my legs not be sore. Like everyone would be sore and all that, and I'm just like
I think
never
each
really
athlete's
sore.
different too.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, 100%.
It's like, that's good for you where it might not be good for,
Right.
an
Yeah.
athlete.
Yeah. 100%.
So.
And then like just doing like little stuff like every day, like 100 squeezes on like in the rice bucket for the grip strength,
Yep.
getting catches on the jugs. It's just things like that I didn't do before.
Right.
Where it was kind of just like in high school, it was just like, all right, show up to practice, practice hard, go home, and just like
Right.
that was
But
it.
if you're not doing an extra, there's a guy that's going to pass
Exactly.
you,
Yeah.
So.
It's like, I mean, we're all there, and it's like we're all doing the same thing, but it's like, what are you going to do that's separate, like going to separate you from
Right.
everyone else? Like everyone is going through spring ball right now.
Correct.
Everyone's practicing. It's just those little things.
And then, also it shows the coach too. Like, hey man, this guy's grinding
Yeah.
right now. He
Yeah.
wants it. So I think back to like what we were saying is like you have to have that grind.
Yeah.
You have to be able to do those things. And that's the separation. That's like, whether it's getting blisters on your hands from like catching or going to the right, whatever it is. I think you have to feel not necessarily the pain of it, but you have to be able to feel that resistance.
Yeah.
And have that if you want to make it to that next level. And it's just that mindset. You're conditioning your mind, and it's great that you're learning these things now.
Yeah.
As like a sophomore.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to carry on. So it's great practice that you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I was at a practice his freshman year, and when I talked to the wide receivers coach, Kashif Moore, he was telling me, he was like, I thought Teddy was an older guy because of the way his routine was.
Right.
He's like, I wouldn't expect a first-year guy to have that sort of routine. Mm-hmm. And, that's when it started to stand out to me that, some of the things that we were kind of preaching on, right. For guys to have and things like that, like, okay, even if they didn't have them in high school, right. those things kind of stick. It's like, yep. When the guys leave the team, after high school and then they get all big and strong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
it's
then
like,
come back and like, we should have, would have, could have type of
thing
too. Yeah.
Nah, take advantage now while you can take advantage.
Right.
But to segue into my next question, being at UConn and you get to learn from these great coaches, Kashif Moore, who I just mentioned, being an alum there and, doing great things for that program and, a professional at the highest level. Can you name something that stands out the most from being in the meeting room with him or, on the practice field, or what have you really picked up from him?
Yeah, so to start with that, I mean, like, he was in our, like, exact seats, and he did the exact same things that we did, and then, obviously, he transferred that to the league. So it's just, like, everything he says, I really try and have it stick with me. But, like, one big thing that he said is that it's, like, there's two types of reps, and, like, it's game reps and then, like, mental reps. So there's no, like, oh, like today we're just in shells, like we can go like 75% when we're out there, like we're just in spider pads, we can coast through it. So it's just like going your 100% all the time, right. No matter what. And then like the mental reps of that, like when you're not in, like still like paying attention to the signalers, like knowing what play is being called, like just so you're always ready, just in case like when that opportunity comes, you don't have to like get ready, you're just already ready for it.
Excellent advice from Coach.
Yeah. I think, and again, we can go back and sound repetitive about it, but it's in something I told my team the whole time, it's 6 inches between your ears. Like you have the talent, right? Obviously your talent's going to get better, but those mental reps, I do a lot of visualization. It's just like visualizing yourself out in the field, seeing yourself catching the passes, seeing yourself playing and starting, and doing all those things and just basically putting it out there. I think that's a big part of this too.
Yeah, I'm big on that, the visualization part of it, like seeing yourself in your own head, like making this play or this catch or this block. Right. Like I'm really big on that. Like I've been doing that since high school.
That's great.
Yeah.
If that's anything that you can implement as an athlete, the visualization part is enormous.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Awesome. My next question is, what has playing for Jim Mora done for your mindset, knowing he's coached in the NFL and had all these great players along the way?
I would say that, like you said, all these great guys that he's coached, like Mike Vick and all them, it's just like he is such a professional in what he does, and he wants the best out of every player, no matter if you're like the 110th guy on the roster or the number one guy. He wants your 100% all the time, and he's like really great at being able to get that out of people. Just whether it's like the way he speaks to us or in the meetings, or just like even on the practice field, like when you make a play, like he won't like jump up and down and celebrate like that, but he'll let you know like on the side, like, oh, you were doing a good job, this and that. So it's just like little things like that he does like really stick out to me, and it's just like that's why I think he's such a great coach and why he's really like turned the program around, because he's gotten us to like really believe in it.
That's a big thing, is believing in your coach and having that chemistry with your coach, your team, and we go back to the culture, building up the culture. The team culture is just so important.
Yeah, him Mora. I know he doesn't like that name, but
and that's another thing. He like that's exactly like right. He doesn't like all the attention and all the he just wants like to work with us and like grind with us and just have us all get better.
That's the coach you want right there.
It's
not about him, it's about you guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. We'll keep this thing rolling. What keeps the fire going for you? Maybe it's something that you've seen, that's adding like a new level of motivation, especially for this season coming up.
I'd say the biggest thing for me is just all the people that have spent time like to help me get to this point. Like obviously you with like the workouts and all that, and just like I won't go too deep into it, but there's more than that. Like when you would watch film with me and Owen like on the side, like you don't have to do that. Like you have stuff to do on your own time and all that, but you would take the time out of your day to help us. Or like whenever I'll text you and it'd be like, oh, I'll be home for like a weekend, just like at a random, like, and I'll text you Friday night, you trying to work out Saturday or do a workout Saturday morning, and it's just like you have 2 kids, a wife, all that, and you're just like, yeah, like drop everything, yeah, we can come work out.
Right.
And then it's like my parents and all that, all the time that they spent, like the rides to places, rides to practices, rides to games, just like everything like that. Like everyone that's like helped me up to this point is what keeps me like motivated to like really like keep going, and like I got to just do this for everyone that's helped me and just show like that basically.
Certainly good motivation for sure. I mean, obviously, obviously Rand did it because, you're a great kid. He wants to see success out of you. And I think that's what coaches do.
Right.
Coaching is a sacrifice.
Exactly.
And you see a good athlete like yourself that has the potential, and that's obviously what he saw, and he's going to keep pushing you, I'm sure, but to parlay off of what you're saying, I was going to ask you, and we'll get right into it. How was Coach Bennett as a coach?
I thought
I know you just hyped him up right there.
So, he was really like all throughout youth. My dad was my coach all throughout youth. So I never really had like someone like new as my coach. And like the first thing I noticed when I got to high school was that Randell was really like, I don't know how to word it, but I want to say like a player's coach. Like he was really like connected and like knew like stuff that we were talking about, so that he could like kind of relate to us on our level and all that. Like that starts my freshman year. Like when I first got there, like he would play like say the music that we're all listening to at the workouts and all that, and then like he would just always be in like the conversation with us, and he knew what he was talking about. And then just like him playing at Grambling and all that, and him playing at Cromwell, like he did that, and like everything that he's telling us is like something he's done or seen or something like that. And I know like some kids take that for granted and they don't like really listen.
Sure.
But like that was something that I never
the man's got
really
a resume.
thought. Exactly. That's something I never really thought to do, was just like not like really pay attention to what he was saying.
Right. So I've known Rand now how long? Over 20 years.
I think my junior year, so like January 2003.
I was fortunate enough to train him.
Yep.
All through, and then a little bit through your pro career.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to talk about the music thing like that real quick, like that year, I mean, 2003, 50 Cent's first album came out, and we listened to it every day while we trained.
In the gym.
In the back room, when we went to do any agility stuff or anything like that, that album went on. And that like set the tone for our year. Mm-hmm. It's something that wasn't lost on me even at the time. So when, what's going to motivate your guys to work their hardest? They have to be comfortable and in their environment.
You have to put them in a comfortable environment.
Yes. That's the only way you're going to get it. So, I let them, what do you guys want to hear? Some of the songs grow on me. I can't lie. But, it's all about making the players, feel comfortable so they want to come to, quote unquote work.
There's definitely the comfort aspect of it, but I also think there needs to be an uncomfortable aspect to it.
I think that's the work.
Right. That's the work.
None of what we're going to do is going to be fun today.
Correct.
You might as well have your music and, whatever else you need.
Here, right? But I'd always tell my teams, like, I'm going to make you so uncomfortable in practice. Once the game comes, it's going to be a lot easier.
No, I don't mean to interrupt you. That was our big thing. Our practices, some weeks, I swear, our practices would be harder than the games. Like, we would get to the game, and it would be way easier than, like, what we did that whole week in practice. And, like, I don't want to have it sound like we just, like, joked around the whole time. Like, when he needed to be serious, like, we were serious.
Of course.
And all that. But, like, some weeks I remember, like, the game was just way easier.
Yeah. He's not your friend. He's your coach. But there's that.
But there'll be times where he can, like.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes a good coach.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes, that's a fact.
How do you like the UConn, the campus, and just the actual college life? It being an athlete on campus, and how does that feel for you?
I mean, I love it. It's always like something to do, and then there's
A
always
lot
like
different than high school, prep school,
yeah,
now leading up to
well,
this.
yeah. My high school had like 400 kids total. Like everyone knew everyone, even if you weren't like
You went to Portland High School,
Yeah.
and then there was a co-op with
Yep.
Cromwell.
Yeah,
Who
and-
else was on? I'm sorry. Who else was on that co-op? So it was Portland.
That's it.
That's it. Portland Cromwell co-op.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So like, I mean, there was 400 kids at my school. Like even the kids you weren't friends with,
Yeah,
you
you
knew
know.
who they were, and you knew like what they like to do and all that. So it's
Right.
just like being at UConn. There's however many kids. Like you meet someone new every day.
Different countries.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just like I mean I like that, like
Right.
having it be a big school and all that, and having a bunch of people because it's just like so many different people you can meet, and you
Right.
never know who
Right.
you'll meet and all that, and then just like, I mean like, we always have a good time when we're doing stuff. So
Yeah, together as
yeah,
a team and
exactly,
stuff. Sure.
yeah.
Then I think once you get to that level, you're with like-minded people.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's not. And again, like high school, you have guys like yourself.
You get who you get, who lives in town.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And, we're getting this. This guy's just here because his buddy's here.
Yeah.
And he's a big kid, so we'll throw him out there.
Right.
But like, there's that rare breed like you, Teddy, that want to go there. And I think by going to UConn and making it to that next level, like you're putting yourself in that pool of like-minded individuals, and that's how you succeed.
Yeah.
You put yourself in the mix of what you want to be, and you surround yourself with people that have the same goals and aspirations as you.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. That's why I think our culture there is so like good. We just all have the same mindset, same goals and all that. So I think that's like a big thing too.
Yeah. Who are your role models in the game?
Randell Bennett.
No, seriously, I will say him. No, I'm being for real. Like actually him, like just like
Appreciate
knowing like what he's done and like who he knows
He's
and
my
all
role
that.
model too.
And it's just like knowing how much he's sacrificed and all this and all the stuff he's been through, stuff like that. So I would say him. He's a big one. I would say obviously Jarvis is a big one because when I was trying to like play college football, he was like preparing for his pro day that summer. So it was like he had just done it. He knew exactly what it was. He was a starter that year at UMass, and it was just like he was a big role model for me. I mean, someone like not related to football, my dad is a huge role model for me. He's like the definition of a hustler. Like he's always working. He's doing something. He'll send me videos. He's in a claw machine, like scooping up dirt at work, moving it. And he's like, yeah, I just was in there all day just moving it. So
it's awesome.
like he's a big one for me. My mom, obviously, just like that. And then one that people might not know is my little brother, Jack. He's a big role model. Even though he's younger than me, just like the way I think he's come further than I have in like this whole like journey. Because I like when he first started, he was in 8th grade. He's a 13-year-old kid working out with a future NFL player. He's 13. And he's like, he didn't give up. He just kept going. He never like one day was like, nah, this is too hard, or in the middle of workout, like I can't do it. So I think just like seeing that, I mean, I took it for granted for a while, but like I just like recently realized that he's like probably one of my biggest role models.
Where's your brother now?
He plays at Springfield.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
great.
yeah. He's a freshman there this year.
So how
Yeah,
your
man.
parents survived the time.
Usually their games were like during the day, so they would go at like, I think he usually played at like 1-ish.
Yeah.
So they would go to that, and then they'd come right back.
over to-
yeah.
It's awesome.
And watch.
It's dedication.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So-
they're
so much fun
Yeah,
for
they're
you
our
folks.
biggest fans.
Yeah, they have to be.
Yeah.
I'm my son and my daughter's
Yeah.
biggest fans.
Yeah, man. They,
Yeah.
yeah.
You'll be there soon.
Like they went. They
Hopefully.
played this school North Central in Chicago for like their semifinal games, and like my brother's freshman, he didn't play. He traveled to it. They're on a plane. They're going to the game.
That's great.
And it's like he doesn't play because he's young, but like they're at that game, or they're at all the playoff games. Like they didn't miss one game.
Not to like speak for your parent, but like I can certainly talk about it a little bit where it's almost like they've invested in you, right?
Yeah.
That's all that investment, and they want to see their investment keep growing.
Yeah.
They put you, they threw you into this.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
their fault.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Essentially,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But, you know, Mom, Dad, it's your fault I'm here at UConn, so yeah, get your butt
Yeah.
up here. But, you know, and for me, it's like, yeah, it's my fault that I put a golf club
Right.
in my kid's hand. And, you know, so it's, but that's the things as a parent, you'll be there one day, you know, as a parent, that's what you want. Like, you want to see success and you want
Yeah.
to just keep, you know, you say it living through your kid, vicariously through your kid in a sense. But, you know, that could go south too. You know, obviously some people we know.
It can, man.
You know, but I think keeping that in perspective. So that's great. I'm glad to hear your parents are enjoying you and your brother.
Yeah, and
Cool.
I mean, there's no pressure from them at all. Like, if I said tomorrow, like, I don't want to play football anymore, like, there wouldn't be like any
Right.
resistance or pushback in that.
And I think that's a good point you bring up. That's, you know, just from a parent role, like putting that pressure. We see so much pressure with these parents putting on it, and they have false expectations for their kids, and you know they're gonna go D1. You always hear D1. They're gonna do this and that, but like you don't even know what D1 is. Like you know, like it's you know, I mean, you know what D1 is.
It's a job.
Good.
So if you're not approaching it like a job,
Right.
you either have to or you gotta give that dream up.
Right. We just went to a college seminar for golf, and it was actually the UConn coach that was talking, and he's just like, there's no real difference between, as far as golf goes, you know, D3 to, you know, 1, 2, or 3. You know, like you go play golf, you're putting a score up. You know, it's an individual thing. But, you know, also at the same time, I always say this, like whether you're playing 1, 2, or 3, whether it's football or whatever, obviously you're playing at an elite level, high level, but you're playing a college sport, you're good. You know, with all these, you know, the athletes in the country. So like you're no schmuck if you're playing a D3 sport or whatever it is. So you have that mindset to go and do it. So again, I admire anyone that can play at that level and you know, in sacrifice, because you're certainly sacrificing.
Yeah, I mean, any level of sacrifice. And I mean, like you just said, like playing any division is still a big deal. Like only 7% of high school football players go on to play in college at any level.
What is it, 1% go D1 or
So
whatever
it's like,
it is? Or, you know, it's just
It's like 1%. It makes it to the highest level.
the highest level, right?
But like only of those, I think, and this was from years ago, but of those 7%, like 6% of those guys will even be scouted for the highest level.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to even put yourself in that, you know, you're talking about, you know, a select group of people, you know.
Elite.
So when you see guys that excel at that level, you know, that's the 1% of the 1%.
Right,
You know, those guys are super duper elite, you know. Who are the top 3 guys at your position?
I would say right now, I love Puka Nacua.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if people will agree with that, but I love him. This is in no particular order either.
Okay. LA Rams.
I would say him. I would probably put like, I mean, obviously you got to put like Justin Jefferson in there and like.
I mean, this is your top 3.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
it's like
Okay,
it could
okay.
be
It could be
just
anyone?
who
Okay.
you like to rock with.
Okay, so definitely Puka then. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay.
And then I want to say, I'm trying to think of who. Those 2, and then I love, I like Deebo Samuel a lot, just like being able to do everything.
I'm hurt you didn't mention any Philadelphia Eagles, but that's cool.
Nah, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are good too, for sure.
Saquon in there, so you know, different position, but
Oh, yeah. If a different position, he's definitely in there.
Right. Yeah. No, that's solid.
who
That's
do
solid.
you follow for NFL? Who's your squad?
I like the Panthers.
Panthers. All right. I'm a Seahawk fan.
Yep. Just got Cooper Kupp.
Back in the day with Brian Bosworth.
Yep.
The Boz.
Tear it up. All right, this last segment, I don't have a name for it yet. You could leave any suggestions in the comments, but we're going to ask Teddy a bunch of rapid-fire questions and just try to get some quick answers out of him, have a little bit of fun here before we wrap up. So, Teddy, favorite meal?
Just coming to my head quick, like any sort of Mexican food. Like I love burritos and tacos and all that sort of stuff.
I can attest. These guys are always talking about Chipotle. What's the best sports environment / stadium you've been in?
I would say the best one I've been in was my freshman year at UConn when we played NC State at home. That was like the most people I've ever seen in person, like at a game in my life before. So that one was a big one, yeah.
I was at that game. That's a good game. What's the best game you've been a part of?
Best game? I'd say the Temple game from this year, just because, I mean, we played like really bad, but like we got to stop, or we got to scoop and score last play of the game. They're on our like 1 yard line down. Like, I remember that. Yeah. I think it was 3 or 4. Like they decided to not kick the field goal on 4th down and go for it, and we scooped and scored. And I just remember like rushing the field. Like that was definitely like the best game I've been.
That's awesome, man. Who are the 3 best college football players you've ever seen?
I've ever seen. I'll give you one. I played with Christian Haynes. I think he's like, people might not like really know who he is, but I just think like his work ethic and all that. And then
another Seattle Seahawk.
Yeah, I mean Bryce Young. He's quarterback of the Panthers, my favorite team. So he like went on a crazy run and all that. And then like obviously like someone like Joe Burrow, just watching through like the TV and all that when I was like in high school.
Oh, this is in person.
Oh, in person?
In person.
Oh, so I haven't seen either of the last 2 play. So I don't know his name, but he played at Maryland this year. One of their receivers, he torched us. Like he killed us. I don't know, I forget his name, but he wore number 10. I know that. And then one more. I'm trying to think of someone like on our team that I could say. I'd probably say like Skylar Bell. Okay. He's such like a freak athlete, like weight room, all that stuff. Like he's fast, like runs over 20 miles an hour. He squats like 4 something. He cleans crazy, just like a crazy athlete.
They definitely love him at Rensselaer. Every time I'm at a game and he does something, the kids are screaming. It's like, okay, he's got a little juice. Skylar Bell, be on the lookout for him if you haven't seen him yet. What's your go-to late night snack?
Ooh, probably like ice cream, honestly. I'm a big, I got a big sweet tooth. So I try to stay away from this stuff, but sometimes I can't. I'll just go down but like the problem that I have is like once I start eating it, I don't stop. So like I'll eat the whole pint in one shot, and it's just like
build different mindset, man. Got to finish what you start.
Exactly. I like that.
All right, and the last one, battle-tested bond. Who is your ride or die person?
My brother Jack. Just like I know that no matter what I do, he's always got my back. No matter what he does, I always have his back.
It's awesome.
And it's just like, yeah. So, yeah, Jack.
Jackson Williams. Big shout out to Jack, man. He's definitely come a long way. But, yeah, he's a good dude, good little brother. That's it. That's it from me, man. This was awesome. Yeah. It's a great welcome back.
Right, for sure. Teddy, thanks a lot for joining us today. It's very insightful. We always like to try and get guys like yourself that play at that high level, get your mindset, and share it with our audience a little bit, and really, again, I just think it's mindset, it's grind, being able to accept the grind that you're going through. It's so easy. It's probably a lot easier for you to say, I'm not going to do this anymore, or I'm not going to go work out. You're on spring break right now. Yeah. I'm sure you're still working out with Rand and doing stuff, but it's just like, it's easy to lay in bed, and not go for a run or not go to the weight room and do your thing. And I think that's what separates the athlete from the elite athlete from just the regular athlete. And there's nothing wrong with the mediocre athlete that doesn't want to do the extra. That there's room for everyone. But again, we talk about that certain percentage, that certain group, if you will, that has that drive and has that mindset. And again, just to speak on it, I believe you're a product of your environment when it comes down to that. Obviously you were brought up. You talked about your parents working hard, and I think that that overlays and pours out onto you as an individual. So it's big. Like you know, I know I'm not giving my kids everything, but you want to be able to provide for them and give them the opportunities to be able to, you know, play at a high level and be able to, you know, go work out and, you know, get trainers and get that elite, you know, keep using that word elite, but that's what it is, that elite training, that elite help to help advance yourself. So, but great job, man. I admire what you're doing. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to it. I'm going to come with Rand this year, and hopefully we see you out in the
Yep.
field. And you know, look forward to seeing your hard work out there. Rand, it was great again to, you know, get back. We're going to be doing this a little more regular. Audience, appreciate you guys watching. Pete Asadourian, Randell Bennett. We'll see you next time.
Suggestions in the comments. Peace.